All right. Hey, this is you. Ascension, let's go. You know what I mean? I'm ready to dive in, but
Ask me
oh,
some questions.
take the lead. Take the
What
lead.
do you
Tell us
want to
all
know
about
about
this.
the Ascension? So today I picked the topic and we're going to talk about the Ascension, which is like everything that I do, but we've been talking a lot like about like bits and pieces for the last few weeks. So, I mean, everything is the Ascension. Anything that has to do with human development to me is the Ascension. So, like, everybody has their different opinions on what the Ascension is. Like, some people that are Christian think it only has to do with Jesus.
Mm, like we just want to ascend to heaven and that's it.
Mhm.
But then even some people inside of that category, which is the religious category, believe that there are multiple levels to heaven also.
Right.
You know what I mean? So it's like, yeah, we ascend to a new plane, new realm, new level of existence, but there's always somewhere else to ascend to. You know what I mean? So when you say the word ascension, obviously, like right now, we know that there's a lot more people that are tuning in to
Mhm.
things like that. You know what I mean? Like spirituality, energy, vibes, crystals, just the whole field.
Mhm.
And the word ascension is something that sounds very attractive. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You tell somebody like, oh yeah, I'm really just trying to ascend. So like I'm really like something like that. People are like, oh, what's that? Like, where are we going? Where are we
Well,
riding?
you know what I notice with people is like they don't even like some people can't even say that word.
Mm,
So like because my business name is Ascension Next and like, I talk to like different companies and things like that, some people I notice can't even say that word and to me that means something.
so what does that mean? To dive
That
into
to
that.
me means they have no clue about spiritual connection, intuitive like development, like they have no clue. Like I feel like when somebody can't say that word,
Mhm.
that they're just like completely like muggle human stuck in the 3D matrix.
Okay. See, every time we start talking about something crazy, you see the lights start going crazy.
Uh-oh.
Time to invest in some new studio lights, or we just got to turn the energy down on the show. One of the two.
Well, I can't turn my energy down, so.
I just looked right into the light, it just blinded the hell out of me. But okay, so where do I'm trying to think how we want to where to touch first because there's so much wrapped into it. All right,
Well, you
so
can talk
when
about like
you
people waking up right now, like that's a big thing.
exactly, so there's like a grand, well, there's like a I won't say mass awakening because I feel like
There's a
awakening.
mass awakening
You
compared
think
to
it's
like when I was younger, like how many people were woke, even though I don't really like that term because
yeah,
to me
yeah,
it's
yeah.
fucking mainstream bullshit.
Hmm.
There's way more people waking up, but I also feel like there's people that are like descending too.
Well, a lot of people under the flag of ascending or under the flag of what's the word I'm looking at? Just trying to under the flag of trying to be free. A lot of
Mhm.
people are actually enslaving themselves and other people. You
Mhm.
know what I mean? So all of this new stuff of like we just accept everything and
Yeah.
love everything and like you know what I mean? Everything's okay. Like actually is working in the reverse because now we see in the society that we in, um, we're actually descending to a place where we can't even handle regular stuff that used to be regular,
Mhm.
like could really just break somebody down. You know what I mean? With everybody being offended and everybody being sensitive and all those different things. It's like, yeah, when you look at it on the surface, or when you look at it in the space of what's the word? Just on the surface, it looks like that's something good because they're just trying to make sure nobody hurts nobody and like you know what I mean. But when you really get under it, it's really putting everybody on the offensive side of things, and
Mhm.
therefore it's silencing people and
Mhm.
it's silencing true and actual thought because everybody's working through filters now. You know what I mean?
Yeah, because you're not allowed to place boundaries anymore.
Hmm.
They're not allowing people to place boundaries. You can't go through ascension without boundaries and discernment. That is like the number one, in my spiritual basic bitch course. Right now I'm teaching a whole spiritual basic bitch course, which is like right now we're still going over protection, grounding, all of that. But like
Okay.
discernment is huge. Boundaries are huge. Like you can't connect on a high level if you don't have any of that because you're just going to allow everything and anyone in.
Hmm.
That's what they're trying to do.
Yeah.
They want you to be an open fucking field so everything can feed off of you.
Hmm. Yeah.
People don't get that shit.
Turn you into a buffet. And the crazy thing about it is like what I've noticed is when you start to ascend, things want to attach to you. You know what I
Mhm.
mean? Things want to hitchhike on you,
Mhm.
or things want to attach to you to pull you back down. You know what I
Mhm.
mean? So it's like the closer you get to elevation or ascension, the more things start to um, show up in opposition of that. You know
Right.
what I mean? The more noise starts to happen around you, the more things that are looking to distract you. And that's why I found it so powerful when you said discernment, because I think that is probably the key of being able to maneuver through as you're on your way up ascending, being able to maneuver all of the things that are going to look to come before you and bring you back down. You know what I
Right.
mean? Including people. People's the
Mhm.
number one thing, because most people don't like you where you're going, they like you where you're at. You know what I mean? And when you start to elevate, people feel threatened by that. You know what I mean? Because they don't know where you're going. They don't know who you're going to become. They don't even know how to deal with you anymore, because they're used to you inside of a certain space, or as a certain being. And when you show up different, people don't like different. You know what I mean? People don't like
Yeah,
the unknown.
mhm.
So where are we ascending to from your perspective in the work that you do? When we talk about ascension, not where are we ascending to ultimately, but where are we ascending to from here? Like, what is the next stop?
I feel like honestly, I feel like the world is going to be split in two. I was talking about this in one of my lives the other day. I really feel like either you're going to tap into your magical superhuman ability. Did you see a documentary that's coming out on Amazon called Superhuman, where the government is teaching people like telekinesis and telepathy and all that?
You know what? I did not see that. However, I did see a documentary. This was a while ago. How they were saying that they were using basically the same thing in the CIA and FBI, and basically they were solving crimes across seas, or like
Mhm.
even war crimes, without ever going there. They had people doing what they call remote viewing
Yep.
and going there psychically and locating people in precise points through their mind without ever going to the locations. Like they would tell them, like, all right, they're here. This is what I see around them. You know what I mean? And they would be able to
Yeah.
go in and locate these people.
Yeah, like remote viewing is a thing that I teach in psychic development, but yeah, it's like a real I don't know if it's come out yet. I have the link right here. We probably can't watch it on there though. It's called Superhuman: The Invisible Made Visible.
Mm,
Official trailer of 2020. Just this the other day, but it's becoming really normal for people to connect in on that level. But what I feel is like with everything happening right now, like I don't think the vaccine's a coincidence because
mm,
when I do energy work, I see energy attaching to like I just did an entity removal the other day
okay.
where somebody was dating somebody that they were out of alignment. It was not a good relationship and I went in and I cleared this entity, and when the energies that I was working with took the energy out, it showed that it was attaching to the telomeres, which I think is chromosome, or is that DNA?
I'm not 100% sure, to be honest with you.
Yeah, it was something like that. But
Okay.
that's what helps the other. I think it's chromosomes, or I think it has to do with DNA, but it helps it
Okay.
connect to the other one. So it was like blocking it. It was blocking it from the
All
growth.
set.
And
That's wild.
telomeres, from what I know, help with aging.
Mm,
And then if you have an overgrowth of telomeres, that creates cancer.
really?
If you don't have enough, then
Okay.
yeah, you
All
can
right.
get sick too. You need a balance of them.
That's pretty interesting. I'm about to look into that.
Yeah.
So,
So like, but that one parasitic energy was attaching to the telomeres to fuck with that person could have got sick.
oh shit, that's wild.
Hmm.
That's wild. Yeah, let's catch up on some of the comments we got here. Let me see. Tori Sun says hey, hi. She says hi. Um, Sabrina Carey says hi. Says hey. Michelle Voorhees says hello. All what's going on? Lindsay in the house. She said hey guys. Heidi. She said hi there. So they're all just checking in. So true. You oh so true. So you start taking a class, then oh my god. So this must be one of your students.
Yeah.
Let's see. I just called the black magic. Oh, nasty witch because I use crystals to practice my spiritual development. We'll just catch up on all those. So, let me ask you this because this is something I heard. Um, and this goes into the dimensional aspect when we talk about ascension. I was listening to who the hell was it? I forget who it was, but basically what he was saying is that there are entities here inside of this space that don't want us to elevate upward
Mhm.
to the fifth dimension. They want to keep us fourth dimension and below, basically
Mm.
trapped in the third. But if we
Yeah.
do get out of the third, only to the fourth because there's something that activates in us when we get to the fifth that they're trying to prevent from happening.
Yeah, because then they won't be able to feed off of us as easily.
Mm.
That's why. It's all about food. All of this is it's about feeding, and the energy has to do with, humans as food in a sense to these other entities.
So it's like almost like real life, The Matrix,
Mhm.
like how they had them in a capsule and they were just pumping them like batteries, pretty much.
Yeah, I honestly, I feel like you're going to get mad at me, but I never saw.
Wait! Don't tell me! Don't tell me! Don't tell me! Don't tell me! I couldn't handle it. I don't want to hear it.
And people
I
get
think I know.
mad
I
at
think I
me.
know what you was gonna say, but I can't handle it.
I've never watched Star Wars all the way through either. So, like,
Oh
those are some things
snap!
where people are like, "Ashley," and I'm like,
What? Listen, you would you would spaz out if you watch The
I
Matrix.
feel like I would just get offended.
Why do you say why do you say that? Break that down for me. What makes you think that?
I don't know, cuz like I just feel like I don't know. I don't know. I make jokes like that. Like I get
I got
offended
you. I
by
got
Star Wars cuz it's my people and you don't know my
you.
people.
You're like, that's not how my story goes.
Yeah.
But nah, the Matrix you got to dive into because
Mm.
there's so like, especially because the level of understanding that you have. You know what I mean? When
Mhm.
you watch it, you're not. It's like you see what they're saying, but you see what they're saying. Like you know what I mean? And there's so much messaging in that movie that's so um applicable to what's going on right now inside this time and space. It's insane. You know what I mean? Like someone could watch it and totally be entertained and miss the whole thing. But someone with an understanding will be like, yo, they basically just told us how they're running this whole shit.
Yeah.
You know
Yeah.
what I mean?
I think that's why I get aggravated too because I watch things and I'm just
Yeah, no, I get you. I
like
get you.
come on, people, like how do
Mhm.
you not see shit?
Yeah,
That's
like you see the
that's like a thing
programming.
with me is I'm just like, how do you people like not see this? How do you not
Yeah.
see this? How do you not see through that shit? But I
Mhm.
guess like, some people they really don't get it.
Yeah, yeah. Now there's so much programming, and well, it's programming. It's television programming. You know what I mean? They
Yeah.
tell you right in the title. But there's so much programming and it's so predictable. In the direction they're trying to send people and
And
what they're
it's
trying
like
to create.
television, like telling you the vision.
Exactly, exactly for real. Or tell lies to your vision. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
For real, it's
Mhm.
all going down. But how do we move? I'm asking you in question form because
Yeah.
right now, obviously, I'm kind of like interviewing you at this point
Yeah.
because your ascension. Like, you know what I mean? So how does the average person step towards a place of ascension? Like where do they begin when it comes
Stop
to
lying to
ascension?
yourself. And I know I say that all the time. Stop fucking lying to yourself about your relationships, about yourself, about your work, about the things that you love, and about the things that you don't love. Stop lying to yourself. Too many people lie to themselves. Too many people stay in situations that they're not happy with. I feel like settling for things in your life that are you think that they're good because it makes sense, but your heart is not truly in it. You can't ascend. You're not going to be able to have ascension.
All right, so how does one recognize ascension?
Is the
And I'm
light
out.
going on and off?
Yeah, it just keeps going. It's something I don't know what's going on. I'm buying brand new lights for the next show, and if it does the same thing, then there's something going on here, for real. But
Uh,
the reason why I asked that,
mm,
I asked it for this reason. Obviously, I think it's important to recognize ascension, and there's a few things about ascension I think it's important that's important to mention, but we'll get to that after the question. Um, but all right, let's say someone ascends into the 5D, right?
mhm.
it's a whole different thing. It's a whole different existence. But if someone doesn't know what they're in or doesn't even know that they've ascended there, how would they recognize that?
I don't think that they would. I don't think that they would. I don't think that somebody that wouldn't recognize it would go into the 5D.
Mm.
I really don't. I
The
think
only
that
reason I say that is because there's people who don't even know the terminology, like
Mhm,
ascend, don't even know that there's levels to this
mhm.
shit. You know what I mean? But they're doing some of the work. They just don't know that they're doing the work. You know
Right,
what I
but
mean?
I feel like they're not gonna fully be in the 5D.
Okay. All right.
That's my personal opinion, but I could be wrong,
Yeah.
I don't know everything about this.
Nah, I got you. I got you. When
You're fucking light.
yeah, I'm about to just turn this shit off. It's like spazzing out. There we go. We'll just go with one light. Uh, that look like I'm in a dark closet tunnel or some shit.
Kinda does.
It does, right? Let's just keep fucking with the light. All
Alright.
right,
I
so
think the light is confirming what I'm saying.
I think so. Actually, every time you make a point, it starts blinking out, so it could be true.
Well,
You're right.
that's what happened in my old shop, like, anytime that we would say something that was true, the lights would flicker, and we just got used to it, and it happens everywhere I go now, I swear to God, so maybe that's why it's happening there.
For real. I'm at to definitely actually well whatever. I'm not gonna grab it now because I do have another light. But one thing I think is important, let's talk to the people that are ascending right now, right? The people that's already ascended. They're already climbing the ladder. They're already
Mhm,
doing the work. Um, for those who just begun to do the work, I think one thing that's important to mention because nobody really mentioned it to me, and I found myself in this situation, and then through working with other people, coaching them and things, I saw that a lot of people go into this space, and it's there's a space in between.
mhm,
You know what I mean? So
mhm,
it's like when you first transition, it's like, all right, you came from one space, now you're in a new space,
mhm.
but it's like you can't operate in the old space, but you're also new to the new space. You know what I mean? So it's like I want to what's the word? I want to engage from my new level of understanding, but all of this is new to me. And the people that are here have been here. You know what I mean? So it's like, how do I engage with these people? But I can't go back and engage with these people because I've transitioned here. You know what I mean? So it's like almost like that in between where you could find yourself what's the word? Like in a small period of almost isolation. You know what I mean? Where it's like you
Yeah.
don't really fit in yet on either side because you moved from one side, but you haven't totally integrated into this new area. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and that happens because you have to shed the old.
Mm.
So part of ascension work is getting to know yourself. How are you going to get to know yourself if you're not in isolation? If you're not alone?
Oh, mhm.
That's where I think it trips a lot of people up and then they want to go back and
Yes.
then they get stuck. They get
Mhm.
stuck in the in between. And I see that happen to a lot of people. And I
Yeah.
see that happen especially to people that are practitioners in this field and they learn energy work or they learn cards or, that's what I call the spiritual basic bitch is they basically get stuck there
Mm.
because they're connecting and they're opening up, but then they get stuck in that in between and they're not moving forward. They're not continuously growing. So to me, I use the term spiritual basic bitch. Like you're still stuck in the basics. You're above the normal and the mundane, but you're not creating any momentum. You're not creating any growth. And I saw that so much in Ascension Next that
Mm.
it drove me crazy. I was like, these fucking people, like, it's like you want to do this work, but you're not.
Mm.
You want to do this work, but you're still making up the fucking excuses. Like you want to do this work and you want to quit your job. A lot of people they want to like leave their jobs and they want to do this work full time,
Yep.
but they're not letting go of the old. So like they keep getting stuck in this in between. And so many people I've seen stay there for like years and it just stunts their growth. So to me, it's almost as bad as like not being awake.
Mm. Okay. I think something very important that you said too is like the isolation is necessary because you have to learn
Mhm.
yourself moving into that was yeah, that's for sure. And one thing I also find, and let me see if you could confirm on this and then maybe even expand on it. How we said some people get stuck in that middle space
Mm.
and then a lot of them end up going back.
Yeah.
But what I found is like people that end up going back, and I'm saying this from just a what's the word? It's like a different type of work
Mhm.
that I do, you know what I mean? But what I see is that when phenomenal people almost go to the next level and they get stuck and they go back, they usually go back and they go to a darker place than
Yeah.
when they first left. You know what I mean? They go back and
Yeah.
it's worse.
Yeah, I tell people all the time, like, you're gonna open this door, you can't close it.
Mm,
I tell people that all the time. I was like, once you open the door to this world, you can't close it. So there really is no turning back.
yeah.
So to me, they're not really going back. They're just going further into the darkness within themselves, and they don't want to move forward, so they can't see the light. But to us it looks like they're going backwards.
Mm, interesting.
Mhm.
Interesting. Let's let me see. We had a bunch of comments come in, so let's catch up on some of that. Panama in the building. What's going on, bro? She said, I have no friends. LOL. Been this way for a minute. Damn.
Who said that?
Sorry. That was Tori's son.
Mm.
But like you said, you gotta go into isolation
Yeah, I
sometime.
mean, and eventually you'll find your people. You will. You got to keep moving forward, though.
Christopher said, you're going to suffer during that time trying to go into the new with the same tools from the old. Once you develop the tools moving forward, it's easier, but it comes with hold on this thing. Oh, it comes with suffering.
A little
Uh
bit, yeah.
yeah, call it like
Everyone's journey
growing
is
pains.
different, you know?
Hmm. Facts, facts. Um, damn, I had a good ass question and I lost it. Okay,
Yeah, there's
so
something else I wanted to talk about too, but I forgot.
yeah, you know what? I just had a moment real quick. All right, well, we'll just keep moving,
Mhm.
and then we'll come back. Um, how much of our actually does any of our ascension have anything to do with anything outside of us? Like, is something going to pull us up, or is it totally in our hands to like ascend? You know what I mean?
I feel like it's 50-50. Honestly, I don't know. I think humans have way more control over the ascension than they think they do. I
Mm,
think too many people look on the outside to like angels, ascended masters, ETs, all of that shit, you know?
yeah.
Um it does affect the external too. So
Okay.
when you like I was channeling messages a lot in the teacher awakens about this was actually the first class that I did when the Christ consciousness came in for one of my courses, one of the temples I was teaching. Um that humans ascending is actually going to help the universe expand. So, like humans, because we have so much different DNA in us, we're actually extremely powerful. So, if we were to fully ascend, and that to me is like when I say fully ascend, it's like all of our DNA is activated, which none of us will see in this lifetime
Mm,
because it would take a long time for that to happen for us because it would have to be on a collective level too. And I feel like minimum 1,000 years for that.
mm, okay.
So it's like I said, it's not going to happen overnight. But full on ascension, I feel like we would be the most powerful uh energies within our universe of the ET energy.
So
That's
is that why they well, I don't want to say they because then that could get a little weird. But is that why certain certain people with certain interests are looking to what's the word? Looking to integrate humans with this artificial intelligence that they
yeah.
worship.
Yeah, because it's
You know what
gonna
I mean?
block all that.
Mm.
It's gonna
'Cause
block all of
it
that.
seems like they're moving towards a cyborg future.
Yeah, we don't need any of that. And like I mean, essentially that's kind of like if you know the story of the reptilians, that's what they did. They just disconnected themselves from source and kind of became like a robot type like species with no emotions.
Mm,
Now they
mm.
eat babies. I mean, I know I joke about that stuff a lot, but I really feel like within the next 10 years, like pedophilia and cannibalism is going to be a lot more normal than we think right now.
Yeah, yeah. You can see the micro programming that they're pushing
Mhm.
with that. You know what I mean? To try to normalize it.
Yep.
Um, So can we ascend amongst that these type of activities, or you said you feel like it's going to be a separate, so you feel like the world's going to separate into
I
two?
feel like there is a separation. There's an argument about that in the community too, because people talk about oneness and all that, but I don't see everybody ascending. And honestly, I feel like that's their journey. And it doesn't mean that eventually their soul can't reconnect to the divine.
Mm,
You know what I mean? Like, I
yeah.
believe that you could take the probably one of the most evil demons ever. And if they chose to change and find the light, I feel like they could.
Okay. All right. So
I
you feel
really
like
believe
everybody,
that.
anybody could
Yes.
come to the light. Got you.
Mhm.
So let me throw this at you.
It
This
might
is
take longer because of the choices that they made, so they'd have to work through a lot more. But yeah.
it's possible though.
Mhm.
Now let me throw this at you. This is for the sake of curiosity. We all heard of like the rapture. This is from a biblical sense. The rapture, all the good people are gonna disappear from the earth,
Mhm.
which to me sounds like some mass ascension, like,
Mhm.
you know what I mean, moment. Um to what's the word I'm looking for? To look at that from the standpoint of this conversation, is there any what's the word I'm looking for? Yeah, is there anywhere inside of not even yourself but your community where this would even be a possible event? Not from a biblical standpoint, but an ascension event where people would just, whoever's ready, just
I
out of here.
mean, a lot of people talked about it for a long time that people were gonna get their light bodies and just leave, but like I never believed that. I always thought it was bullshit.
So where does that come from? Is somebody just like, oh, I feel like we're gonna get light bodies, or is this like an
Yeah,
actual?
people just think that shit's gonna happen overnight. Like that's not how it works.
Okay, I got you. So there's no supporting like
You know
historic
what it is?
documents and all like
It's
that.
escapism.
Mm,
That's a big problem in the spiritual community is escapism.
it's a problem everywhere.
Yeah, yeah. I mean,
Mhm,
everybody does it. That's like a human thing. But what
mhm,
I notice with spiritual people is they're like, and I used to do it a lot too, and I still do it sometimes because
mhm,
I don't like, I just don't want to be here. Like, there's a lot of me sometimes where I just don't want to deal with what's going on, but you have to learn to deal with it. But a big issue in the spiritual community is just like they try to spend so much time in the other realms and they don't pay attention to the human self. So
okay.
like they come up with these grandiose ideas of like, we're just going to wake up and be in the 5D one day and then everything's going to change overnight and the world is just going to be fucking kumbaya.
Yeah. So that
And
takes
that,
accountability off of them.
yeah,
It's
like
just
that
oh,
completely defeats the purpose of why we're here.
okay.
Because we're here to learn how to change it and shift it on our own. So that was something for a long time where I couldn't stand hearing from people. I'm like, the earth isn't just going to shift into 5D overnight.
Yeah.
That's like insanity.
Yeah.
That's not like, no, that's not going to happen. There are mass awakenings. So like things will, like last year was a huge mass awakening.
Mm, mhm,
Tons of people woke up.
for sure.
Last year wasn't fun,
Mm,
for a lot of
yeah.
people. So you got to think like that. Like, in order to wake people up, you need to shake and rattle them.
Listen, stop telling so much truth because you're freaking my lights out. I'm trying to keep up with what you're saying by tapping my lights. I'm like, it's like I'm doing Morse code. Like you're talking and I'm tapping the light at the same time. But yeah,
And
I
you
think
know
you're
what's
affecting the light.
unfortunate too is, with the whole, and I hate to say this because I really feel like the whole election thing and
I
like,
love when people say I hate to say this because I know something like
yeah,
interesting is gonna come.
like Biden getting back in, I was just like, the collective chose a route that's really going to rattle.
Oh yeah, for sure. And I'll go on the record and say that I wasn't enthused about how things went down,
No.
but in the same token, I was it
Because
it
it's
was
the
it's
same
interesting.
people back in. It's the same
Exactly.
fucking shit. It's the everything that everybody hates that they complain about all the time. I don't care what political side
Mhm.
you're allowing the same thing in.
Exactly. Because whoever's in that chair at the end of the day, they're just they're just the face. You know what I mean?
Right,
There's so much inner workings
right.
behind it. So it's like really what you did is you you rebooted a system that
Mhm.
never worked for you.
Right.
You know what I mean? It was like, you know what? Let's just reboot and put
But
the old windows
yeah,
back in.
this has to do with accountability.
Mm,
It's like, how much people hated Trump, like, change was coming forth because there was so much people were so triggered all the time
yep.
that we had no choice but to look at everything. I don't care what you think about the guy, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But that's how change comes. Whenever there's somebody who is making change or innovating, they're hated.
Mhm.
Look throughout history, they're
Yeah.
always hated.
Yep. And you need to, and any time that there's going to be a massive change, you need a massive disruption. You know what
Yeah,
I mean?
because there's too much programming. You need somebody
Hmm.
to come in and disrupt the programming, and then what happened is that programming fought back really well, and people fell
Yeah.
into it.
Because the programming came together from all
Mhm.
sides. You know what I
Yep.
mean? But yeah, the disruption was amazing, and um, yeah, it was just weird to see people reboot that old system.
Mhm.
But it was also interesting to watch as people slowly started to realize that they rebooted. You know what I mean? Like, oh shit, I think we might
Dude,
have.
like, I can't believe, like, some of the thing how'd you not know that?
Exactly,
People are like, "I
exactly.
didn't know Joe Biden was that corrupt." How did you I don't even pay attention to political
Mm,
shit, and I knew that.
yeah, yeah,
You know what I mean?
mhm,
I just knew, like, there were things coming out all the time. Like, what are you looking at? You're not looking. That's the problem. You're
yeah,
fucking hiding. That is
mhm,
the issue with people, like, with the ascension process is there's nowhere to hide. So
mm,
once you begin to wake up,
yeah,
like for me, and I had a long conversation with my assistant a few months ago when I was looking for the space, and like she was pulling cards for me, and I just like we kept going back in this circle, and she's like, well, like they're like you need to find a hobby or this and that, and it's like when you're on such a high elevation, things don't work like that.
mm, mhm,
You know what I mean? it's
yeah,
it's a total, you can't bypass and ignore things. You can't go and distract yourself,
mm, yeah.
you
Because
know.
the thing that I noticed is that it's because we are not moving like we're not moving through time. We're outside of time. You know what I
Mhm.
mean? So a lot of people are on this like this timeline that just goes like this. But like it's like when you're outside of that time and you understand. Well, let me not try to go all the way down there. But when you understand that time is an in and out thing, not a back and forth thing. You
Mhm.
know what I mean? You can't use time the same way that other people do. You know what I
Right.
mean? Um, because you have a different understanding of what time is,
Mhm.
and then also how you can maximize on it. You know what I
Mhm.
mean? Um, time is well, I don't want to get into a whole time episode because I could do that.
Maybe that could be the next
You
episode.
know what I mean? But yeah. So I think once you extend to a certain space like the 5D, it takes you outside of time. You
Mhm.
know what I mean? And just experiencing life is different.
It's
When
completely different. There's
Yeah,
a
you know what I
lot
mean?
of things that I cannot do that I used to do.
Hmm. Yeah,
Like I don't drink anymore. I can't smoke weed anymore. I barely watch TV because as soon as I put on a TV show, I can see the programming in it. The only thing that is like really like easier for me to watch is like what do they call it? Like period pieces in a sense, like
yeah,
anything that's based not in this time. So like
yeah.
the show Peaky Blinders on Netflix, like I could watch that because there's no like subliminal messaging in that.
Hmm.
You
Yeah.
know what I mean? Same
Hmm.
thing with Vikings, but like anything that's more modernized, there's so much in there, like trying to program people and make them believe and think a certain way. And it's like when I watch it, I'm like, I can't ignore this. Like, and then I just shut it off.
Yeah. Even your brain is like, what are you trying to like
Yeah,
put inside
my
there?
brain is like, no.
Yep, exactly. Um, nah, yeah, same thing. Like I can't really watch movies like that because I'm like, most
Mhm.
of the time, I know what's gonna happen before it happens.
Oh yeah.
I'm like, oh, they're gonna do this next. Oh,
No.
this character is gonna end up doing something like, and it's just like,
Mhm.
all right, this is ridiculous. You know what I
Mhm.
mean? But you know what? I think there needs to be. We talk about awakening. We talk about um ascending. I think the big thing that we need, and I think the most beneficial thing that we need as a whole is a mass unplug. You know what I mean? Because as long as we're plugged into this,
Yeah, I don't
you
know how
like, you know
to
what I
handle
mean? We're always, even no matter how, I don't care how
that.
advanced you are, I don't care how what level you're operating at, you're still getting these downloads
Mhm,
somewhere. You know what I mean? They're still gonna get you messages somewhere. It doesn't matter if you're watching a movie, if you're listening to the radio, if you're looking at billboards, if you're on Facebook, like we're surrounded by messaging. And
mhm,
even though we're aware of the messaging, like even the fact that you're aware of it means that you saw it, and once you saw it,
mhm,
you can't unsee it, and you can block most of it, but something's getting through. You know what I
mhm,
mean? So I think there needs to be a mass unplug, because the longer we stay plugged in, the more inevitable the integration is gonna be. You know what I mean? And I know
mhm.
that sounds like some, like, conspiracy theory guy in his basement eating Cheetos with like six screens. But you know what I mean? That's some real shit. You know what I mean? The more we more we stay plugged in,
I
that's
know a
what'll
lot
make
of
it to
those
us.
guys.
Oh, dude. Oh, snap. But real deal, like, it's like you gotta have the real conversation, but at the same token, it's like, no, you guys just gotta have the real conversation. We gotta make it so that we can have conversations that aren't normal conversations. Like, did
Yeah,
you see Hip Hop Wives of Atlanta? Did you see how this girl was doing? Like, nah, forget all that. Let's
I
talk
can't
about
even
some real
have a
shit.
conversation like that anymore with people.
Mm,
When people try to talk to me about some shit like that, I immediately shut down now. Like, I can't waste my breath.
exactly. Facts.
It's hard for me to like do the simpleton conversation with people.
Mhm.
And then people think I'm a bitch or like I put myself on a pedestal, but
Yeah. But it's not even that, because it's like you respect yourself enough, but you also
yeah.
respect them enough to not
Mhm.
entertain that, because if you entertain it, they're just gonna keep coming with it. Like, you know what I
Yeah,
mean?
I don't understand how people like watch garbage, like you're feeding your brain garbage.
But you know what it is a word that you said earlier, which is the escapism, and it's deflection.
Mhm.
Because when you watch something like, say, like a Tiger King or something like that, you know what I
I watch
mean?
Tiger King.
I never seen it. Everybody kept telling me, "You gotta see it, you gotta see it." But when you watch these people, it's like, damn, my life's jacked up, but it's not
Yeah,
as bad as those guys. Like, you know what I
yeah.
mean? So it gives people like a different perspective, or gives them a way to alleviate maybe how they feel about how their situation is. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
By seeing how jacked up somebody else's situation is.
Well, I mean, but if you watch I know some people watch the Kardashians, like I feel like you would watch that show and be like, wow, I'm a loser. Like I have nothing.
Yeah. Or
You
just go on
know?
Instagram, you feel that way.
Yeah.
You know what I
Yeah.
mean? People got perfect bodies, perfect cars, they're always
Dude,
on
people
boats. You're
are
like,
fucking
damn, I'm fucking
frauds.
up.
People are straight frauds. For
Yeah,
real.
facts. Fact.
You know
Well,
what I mean?
everybody's their own PR.
Like,
You know what I mean?
you're in the coaching industry, like, how
Yeah,
many people like, or you see them. You can see people
automatically.
that you're
You,
like, that you ain't doing that shit.
mm-mm. And you could tell just by no, well, there's a lot of different things, but like body language,
Mhm.
voice tones, all of that
Yep.
shit gives it away easy. So
Mhm.
like, all right, let's go to this.
Mhm.
You just activated something for me, and
Alright.
I think it's very important. And this follows suit of the unplug that I've said, how we all need to unplug. Um, what we're really unplugging from, or what we're really up against, is the simulation,
Mhm.
because we're really living inside of like an artificial, like, this world that we're operating in has been created for us to exist inside of, rather than exist inside the real world, which would be off the grid. You know what I
Mhm.
mean? So for instance, living in, and I know that we have to evolve and we have to, grow and all these different things, but living inside of, let's just say, a I don't know, living in the rainforest, and living in a tribal community and things of that nature, that existence is so far uh removed from what we're living in. You know what I mean?
Mm.
And it's like the world that we consider to be the real world is the world that has been created for us to operate inside of. You know what I mean? And you can't even exist inside of this world if you don't follow the programming.
Mhm.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, but you don't get yourself all fucked up either because tribal life isn't that easy either. Because you got to go by
Mm,
everything the tribe wants and who's in control of the tribe. Because I've been a past life. I actually did a past life recently where Um, I was in a tribe and it was not a good life. I kept
Mm,
running away, like the men were raping the women
mm,
constantly, like,
mm.
and then I ended up doing some fucked up shit because I was a young girl and I was like, I stole something from another tribe to get my tribe like killed.
Oh shit. Okay.
Yeah, because I was just had it with their shit.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like to
It,
kill the men, you know what I mean? So people think that living off the grid or dis is the light going off
yeah.
again?
It's all
It
your fault.
has to do with how we treat each other.
Mm, mm-hmm.
I don't give a fuck about where, if you're living in the fucking woods, if you're living in an apartment, if you're living in China, if you're living in fucking how are you treating each other? How is your
Mm.
community?
Well, the reason why, how can I put it? To tie into what you just said, the reason why I bring that up is because even the way that we treat each other is artificial.
Hmm.
You know what I mean? So, like, for
Yeah, but do you
instance,
think so? Because I feel like me and you don't treat each other fake.
well, the reason why I say that is because, well, the reason why we don't is because we have a level of understanding and we've done the work. You know what I mean?
Right, right.
But the average person, like for instance, I grew up south side of Providence, right?
Mhm,
I knew guys who were very nice guys, like super nice, super
mhm,
genuine, super loving guys.
mhm.
But they couldn't be that guy. Like, you know what I mean? They had to be this other guy.
Yeah,
They had to be the tough guy.
I
I'll
know.
knock you out, like da da
Yep,
da, like you know what I mean? So it's like,
yeah,
or even not all females, but even some females who are very intelligent, um, very what's the word I'm looking for? They could be driven. They're very nice people. They'll dumb themselves down to fit into this,
I've seen that.
ditzy, like, oh,
Yeah.
just a stupid girl type of, you know what I
Mhm.
mean? Like, just to fit into that model because they think that that's, what people want. You know what I mean?
Right.
So, um, that's why I say these artificial behaviors because
Yeah.
they give you options. You could be like this, you could be like this, you could be
Mhm,
like this. Depending on where you want to fit in, this is the person you have to be,
mhm,
even if that's not who you are on the inside. You know what I mean?
mhm,
Um, so that's why I bring that up. So how you said like, yo, like me and you, we could chop because I
mhm,
feel like we're on the level. You know what I mean?
mhm.
Um, but I do see, especially in coaching, because a lot of times the initial coaching sessions are really getting through the layers of the artificial person to
Right.
like who the fuck's under there. Like
Mhm.
who am I really talking to?
Yeah.
Not like the person you're showing up as or your representative.
Mhm,
You know what I mean? But it's like you
mhm.
got to break them down to really get to the individual. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And to break them down, you need to trigger,
Exactly. No,
you know?
exactly. And you
So,
know what?
like,
The people
that's
that
the
ain't
thing,
ready,
though,
they don't come back.
that's why they're trying to make people so, like, going back to the beginning of this conversation, that's why they're trying to make everyone so fucking offended.
Mm,
Because as soon as you're like, "I'm offended," nothing
exactly.
shakes and rattles
Hmm.
because you're already automatically putting up the block with, I don't want to hear it. I'm offended and I have the right to be offended and I'm fucking entitled and that's it.
Exactly.
So no learning, no accountability, no growth, no expansion. Fucking throw it out of the water.
Just leave me here and don't bother me.
Yep. But that's a
Bro.
huge problem for the work that I'm trying to do and that you're
Mm,
trying to do. You know
yeah.
what I mean?
Yeah.
Like you can't say that it's okay for this person to do that, but and not holding the other one like that's the fucking problem right now. It's like if you're a certain race or sexuality, the same rules don't apply. But
Exactly.
to me, the same rules apply to everybody.
Hmm.
I don't give a fuck what you look like. I don't
Yeah.
care if you're blue, if you're purple, if you fucking wear a pointy hat or you wear, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like
Yeah. Yeah.
that's the
It's
fucking
it's all
issue.
principles. Yeah. Yeah. For real. I feel like it's all principles, and
Mhm.
like you said, the same rules should apply to everybody. And on top of that, I feel like the reason why we have like rules that apply to one group, not to another group, right? This is okay for this person. This is
Mhm.
not okay for this person. Is number one to create confusion,
Oh
and
yeah.
then number two to create instability. Because how can you have balance and stability when you're telling somebody that something is one thing,
Mhm.
but in the next breath telling them that it's not that thing.
Right.
You know what I mean?
But think about how dangerous that is to the groups that aren't being held accountable. Essentially, they're going to destroy themselves.
Which is the ultimate goal. You know
Right.
what I mean? For self
Right.
destruction. You know what I mean?
Yep.
the self-destruction, see, people will be like, oh, I'm just gonna put this out there. People will be like, they're trying to kill all this group of people, and then they're trying to
Mhm.
kill this group of people. But what people got to understand is that they're trying to kill all groups of people. There's just a
Right.
strategy to it, and
Yeah.
there's phases. You know what I mean?
Yep.
So okay, if you think they're trying to kill everyone that looks like me,
Mhm.
okay, there might be truth to that. But
Mhm.
understand that that's just a part.
Right.
Like that's just the phase that we're in right now.
Yeah.
And then there's another phase, like nobody's safe. You know what I mean?
Right.
Because at the
Right.
end, they
Yeah.
don't care about nobody. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah. Like it's crazy. It's crazy how people like fall into these ideologies that it's just all about destruction within
Mhm.
everything.
I'm gonna throw this at you. I'm just throwing stuff now. But I'm gonna throw this at you because I was having this conversation with somebody, and Tori McNally said the lights. Yeah, the lights are going crazy. Um, so to end this, no, because I don't know if we should end like this because we were supposed to be talking about Ascension. So let's stay Ascension, and I'm gonna bring that point up to you on another show, maybe the next show actually, because I think
Well,
it's
now I
important
want
to
to
talk
know.
about. I know, but I'm gonna keep you in suspense, and I'm gonna keep
Okay.
everybody else because this will be a big conversation for sure.
Okay.
Um, all right, so let's look at this. Let's kind of like get close to a final thought on Ascension
Mhm.
because I feel like we bounced around with some different areas, but it's all part of Ascension as a total. Um, why? I'm gonna ask three questions, and I don't know what they are yet. I'm just gonna say them as they come to me.
Okay.
Number one, um, why should people ascend? Number two, how does one? I think you answered this earlier by not lying to yourself, right? But why do people ascend? Number two, how does one prepare all the way around for ascension? And then number three, how does one protect themselves in the process? Because ascension is not something that um you can do without resistance. You know what I mean? Or
Yeah.
at least it's been my experience in the people I work with.
All right. Well, what was the first question again?
Oh, why is it important for individuals to extend? Like, why couldn't they just be like, "Oh, I'm cool. Like, I'm cool where I'm at. I'm just gonna chill here." And you
Well,
know,
I mean, do you want to be controlled? Do you want to stay in a world where you feel like you're being controlled constantly? That's number
mm,
one.
yep,
People talk about freedom and liberation all the time. That's ascension. But in order to have that, you need to take the chances to get there.
there goes
And
the
you need
damn lights.
to shift your
Mm.
energy. You need to shift your reality. Nothing is free.
Oh, let me tell you. Let's say this before we move past it. You said if you want to be free. I
Hmm.
think an important thing to elaborate on because people will hear a conversation like this and they'll be like, "All right, like." Number one, some people will hear this and be like, "Yo, this is crazy talk." Someone actually hit me up and was like, "Yo, you on the internet talking crazy, bro? Like, yo, I heard you on the show. You talking about God and the devil and like you know what I mean?" It was like, "Yo, what's going on?" Like,
That's
and
crazy how people think what we talk about is crazy. Like to
exactly,
me, it's like this is my life. Like this
it,
is how I talk.
it's normal. It's like, yo, this is to me. I'm like, yo, this is real
The
conversation.
real
Like, you know what I mean?
conversation. Yeah.
Exactly.
Hmm.
Um, so what the hell was I talking about? Oh, what the hell was I saying? I said someone said it was crazy talk. I was gonna say something
Yeah.
about something you said.
Freedom.
Oh, freedom. Yes.
Mhm.
So people will hear talk about freedom and being free from this and being free from that and break, all that type of stuff. Um, elaborate real quick so people could get an understanding. What are they being freed from? And what is it that seeks control over them from your perspective?
So I feel like that we're being freed from this simulation
Mhm.
and we're beginning to tap into a higher frequency where we can just create and manifest and be surrounded by abundance and love and creation.
Mhm.
Like creation is on lockdown. You know what I mean? And to me, creation is freedom. Because if humans were in constant creation mode all the time, the world would be in a different place.
Mhm.
Because I feel
Right.
like creation actually stimulates and helps us grow in all areas, physically, mentally, and emotionally. So I feel like the energies that are trying to control us are trying to constrict us from our freedom because they don't want us to have that expansion. Who they are, I just think they're energies that are separated from the light. I don't think there's a name for them.
Okay.
I don't think that there's like one special group. I just feel like they're energies that don't want humans to grow. And I also will go back to like the whole feeding thing, like the energetic thing is they want us in the lower frequency to feed off of us.
Mm, mm, okay. What was the second question I asked you? Oh, how does one tiptoe into the ascension process without being overwhelmed? Like if someone listened to this podcast, right, and they're like, I don't really understand 100% what they're talking about, but it seemed like something maybe I should get involved in. What do they do?
God.
Call Ashley V.
Yeah. I mean, look at my website and follow me.
Okay.
Um, AscensionNXT.com. Um, I mean, it's really about like like development within yourself. Like you want to start small, start with self-care.
Self care. Okay.
And that's crazy that that's something small for people to start with, but because it really
Yeah.
shouldn't be. That should be a normalcy. That should be a normal part of your life is self-care.
Facts.
But
Facts.
people don't do that shit. That's always put on the back burner. I don't
Hmm.
have the money for that, but I'll go spend like $300 at a bar one night.
Hmm. For real. I'll go buy these sneakers real quick.
Yeah.
So I can look good on the outside, but my
Yep.
inside's jacked up. And then all right, so final question, then we go to like the final thoughts, right? Um, for those who are here, and I could tell we didn't get to a lot of the comments tonight, but I could tell by the comments there's a lot of people who are in the process.
Mhm,
Someone said Christ consciousness
mhm,
too brings that freedom. Yes, for sure. So there's a lot of people that are in the ascension process. How does one, or how would you suggest that one protects themselves as they're transitioning, or as they're ascending, because I think there's some stuff out there that people will try to do, you know what I mean? There's a lot of people that are dabbling in like
mhm.
like magic and crystals
First of
and
all, you shouldn't
all
really
this
be
stuff.
doing magic if you're like not doing any self-development work.
Mm,
That's another problem that I see with people is they want to go straight to magic and all the fucking astral travel and all that crazy shit, but they don't want to work on themselves. Like say hello to attachments for you,
mm, mm,
So
yep,
like protection depends on how developed you are. So if like you're just beginning, you can carry some crystals around with you and say a few prayers. But when you're at my level, protection is like I don't even tell half the people what I do for protection,
oh snap,
you
I got
know.
you. Yep.
But I work with a lot of cloaking magic.
Mm,
That's like a big thing that I do. A lot of ceremonial work, but I'm also in the astral realm a lot. If you're that's the thing, like I already do a lot of magical work. Like
mm,
I'm a very magical being naturally. Some people aren't going to tap into that. They're just going to want to raise their frequencies and connect to a higher level. So it would be different for them.
okay.
I would say more self-care, just keeping yourself in the light. I feel like honestly it's different for everybody.
Okay.
It really, really is. Because
Got you.
what you may need for protection is going to be different than me.
Mm, mm, okay. Okay. All right, so here goes nothing. Let's go to let's go to our final thoughts, right? And then, oh, you know what? Let's do this. Let's figure this out real quick because I wanna. No, let's not do that. Sorry, got another cliffhanger.
Okay.
Another cliffhanger. Let's go straight to the final thought,
Mhm.
just because we got 5 minutes. So I'll let you give your final thought last because you're the ascension master. You know what I mean? Um, So my final thought on the matter is, yeah, we just got to continue to ascend, um, and just master at each level, and understand that there is levels to this. You know what I mean? And there's more than what meets the eyes, and just continue to work on self, and continue to seek higher levels of understanding, and put yourself in the right spaces and around the right people. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
Because there's a lot of people who could just really drain the life from you and keep you small for
Mhm.
your entire time here. So I think those are important things. But I'll pass the ball to you. and just give us your greatest ever close on Ascension. No
Mhm.
pressure.
Okay. So, what do I have to say about the Ascension? I feel like, if you really want real development, stop being a follower.
Mm.
That to me is like you're never going to get it. And I see so many people where I just roll my eyes and like I have to let it go cuz that's their journey, it's not mine, but if you really want like true development, if you really want to tap into the supernatural, your superhuman abilities, your magical, the enchantment of life, manifestation, all of these like amazing things that we think are on the outside of us, which I always say, all of this is by you connect with all of that by tapping within. Um, you can't follow blindly because you're never going to tap into that. You're always going to be reaching into the external and you're never going to get anything. It's like what I'm seeing right now is people that are constantly following are going to play that game, the claw game. Like
Like
how
on
many
Toy
times,
Story, they're like the claw.
yeah, like how many times you really going to grab, you're not going to grab shit.
Mhm.
And what I see with a lot of people doing right now that are just blindly following and us, and they're judging others for not blindly following, dude, you're being led to a cliff and you're just going to fall right the fuck off. I mean, and I always said this too. Like I've been saying this for years. Ascension ain't easy. You really want to connect on this higher level. You need to be tough. You need to be resilient. You need to be strong. You need to be confident. And you need to be able to think and connect for yourself. And that's where discernment comes in. Again, so like people that are really great at discernment aren't followers. We're fucking leaders.
Yeah.
And you have to get used, if you want ascension, you have to get used to people not liking you. You have to get used by people being threatened by you. You have to get used to learning how to hold your power. Because a lot of times when you start to level up and you begin to step into your power, even you, as an ego based 3D being, are going to be like, oh no, that's too much. You're too much,
Mm.
because of the programming in you.
Yeah.
So it's even hard for you to understand the power that you hold sometimes. And you have to learn to work with that and also learn to balance it out because you don't want to be taking advantage of people either when
Mm.
you're at that level.
Yeah.
And one of the big things with Ascension is connecting the mind and the heart. So if you're not working in the heart and you're only working more psychically and intuitively with these abilities that you have, that's where people go off the rocker and they start doing crazy shit like trying to control people and start cults and do all this fucked up shit. Stay in the heart. And that's how I'm going to end
Fire. Fire. I think the lights need to flicker. There we go.
it.
I'll make them flicker on that one. All right. So look at that. Perfect ending. 8:59. So
Mhm.
guys, that concludes tonight's show. We'll be back next week. Wait, what number show is this? I keep asking,
I
but
don't
this was
know.
number 5. You don't
Maybe.
know. I think it was 3. Might have been 3. Who knows? Nah, but yeah, 5. So next week is 6. And I'm feeling super excited about next week for some reason because I feel like
Is it
it's
going to
gonna
be about the topic that you didn't want to talk about?
actually it could be. That could be a whole damn show.
All
And I
right.
think it'll get people talking. So yeah, I'm gonna sit on that. I'm gonna sit on that and see if we're gonna bring that.
Mhm.
But I think it'll be a real powerful conversation for sure. But yeah, tonight was crazy. Ascension, time to ascend. You know what I mean? Time to get in position because we gotta just keep leveling up. There's levels to this.
Mhm.
All right, so guys, we out of here. We'll see you guys next week. Thank you everybody for tuning in. Peace.
Bye.